Does the flip strategy actually work?
We've always heard buy low, sell high. But what's happening in between? I'm sure there must be something that's very important that's happening in between to determine that I'll be getting that profit. What do I need to know?
So watch until the end.
Hi everyone, you are tuned into Normal. My name is Nell.
And my name is Lebo. Today we're actually speaking about the flip strategy. So does the flip strategy actually work? And what are we actually talking about when we're talking about flip? So when we're talking about flip, we're basically saying that we're buying the property below market value and we're actually selling it at market value, or if possible, if we do get something like a bidding war, we do actually get to sell it above market value. I do not recommend that. However, if you can actually sell it at market value, make sure that you are actually selling it at market value. So now, yeah.
You just spoke about a bidding war. What is a bidding war?
So a bidding war is a really interesting concept. This is if I'm going to go into the market knowing that this market is really hot. So now what I would normally do is that I would put my property just below market value, right? So now if my property is worth 1 million, I'd put my property at 900,000. So I know that it's going to actually attract a lot of people to come into that particular property to view it. Once I have a lot of home buyers to actually view this property, I know that I'm going to be getting multiple offers. Once I have this pool of multiple offers, they are actually going to be pushing the price higher. So Nell will come in and be like, no, I'm willing to buy it at 950,000. Then there's someone else that's going to come and be like, you know what, I'm willing to buy it at 1 million. I'm crossing my fingers that I can actually go back to Nell and be like, Nell, there's someone that's willing to buy it for at 1 million. How about you put in a greater offer?
2 million.
2 million. I doubt it will get to that. I doubt it will get to that. However, once now you are above market value, now you are actually getting a price whereby you hadn't actually anticipated it. So now that's what you're actually going for.
I mean, a bidding war is a war that you'd like to be involved in as a property investor because it favors you, man.
And not as a buyer, right?
And not as a buyer, but I mean, as a buyer, they are at an emotional state whereby I really want to buy this property and nobody's going to challenge me.
Yes.
Or I'm willing to spend it. I'm willing to spend X amount because I see my family living in this property and I have to make that happen. So nobody's going to beat me to getting that property.
So would you rather be a buyer or would you rather be the seller in the bidding war?
That goes without saying, man. You're still asking that question. I mean, as much as we are talking about flip, buying low, selling high, it sounds like an easy concept, but the practicality of it is that number one, which is most important, you need experts. When I'm talking about experts, is that you need to actually surround yourself with a team, people that will be giving you these deals that are below market value. And the thing about below market value is that it's nice speaking about below market value. However, now let me mentally prepare you if you haven't seen a property that is distressed or a property that's way below market value. It's not these type of properties. They look more like this. So now what's going to help you in terms of making a decision is that it can actually get to even a point whereby we spoke to somebody, an estate agent is like, Jens, I've got this property. The wife and the husband are fighting. So the wife is not in the place, the husband is there. And we can sell. They want one partner wants to sell, so they will community of property. So now, as the property investor, speaking with the agent is telling you that you can get this house below market value. It's like, oh, that sounds great. That means I can get it for a bargain.
Yes, I can make a profit on this.
I can make a profit out of this. Whether they're saying 400K to 600 to 500K of the property price. But now once you start being in such a deal, let us just look at it. I don't want to dive too deep into this because if you do want us to discuss this, hit the link below on Calendly and let us set a meeting so that we can discuss this in greater detail. But however, I just want to highlight just the legal implications. Now you need to know that when you're going into such a deal that the husband is living in there, the wife has left, you need a lawyer who will take care of eviction. That takes away time and that takes away a lot of money. So are you prepared in that regard in terms of, no, I'll take that weight. I'll call my lawyers and I also have the necessary funds before we even talk about renovating so that we can remove this person from my property once you have signed it. So that's something to consider because a lot of people wouldn't want to go into that deep that you are being involved in family affairs.
So now, looking at flip strategy, right? Flip strategy is actually a way of generating money. Let's look at the two strategies. Let's look at rental for example, right? And then we're also looking at flip on the other hand. With your rental, I know that you're actually going to be getting your money on a monthly basis. However, this money won't be coming as much as the flip. So now with flip, you are actually doing the hard work in terms of getting the project manager in that property to actually managing the whole process of fixing that whole property from start to end. That's how you actually will be working. And then looking at getting an estate agent that is actually going to be able to sell this property as soon as possible.
One thing that we cannot ignore about flip is that it's either cash or credit intensive. You need to have ammunition when you get to flip. Why am I saying that? Last thing you want is that buying a property below market value and then now you need to renovate. Just installing a geyser was close to 7,000. I know somebody can be like, 7,000 guys, why are you guys complaining about 7,000? But when you're looking at return on investment, when you're looking at separating yourself, the property itself, that's when you'll understand the knock that will have to the business. And it's quite a severe one. So we will recover, but yeah, we will recover. Let's leave it there.
I mean, it's that element that we're actually speaking about, that, you know what, if you just got a new paint in that particular property, the next buyer can be like, oh, you painted. Nice, very nice. I like this paint. However, with the geyser, nobody just goes in the roof and be like, oh, you got the 2.0 geyser. Nobody's doing that, man. As long as my water is actually hot.
And the thing about flip is that you need experts. So we always speak about cheap being too expensive. Let me give you the reason why I'm saying you need experts. Let's just say that the geyser was not a problem. Maybe there might have been a pipe that was wrong. And then somebody who came to us that we asked, you know what, can you please look at our geyser? And they're already thinking about installing a geyser. Somebody did tell us that installing a geyser is 2,500. That's how much they're charging us. Well, I don't have a problem with how much they're charging us, but what if installing the whole geyser was not the problem? So you took out that whole geyser, you paid also somebody 2.5 to fix a problem that was not there. I know with entrepreneurship we always talk about creating a problem that's not there. That's how you make money. And at the end of the day, it's entrepreneurship. I mean, I understand where they're coming from because that's another project to them. However, in terms of looking at it from a property investor, you wouldn't like to spend where it's unnecessary. You do want to spend where it's necessary. Why am I saying where it's necessary? Because someone else will be saying that, well, you know, this place has carpets and yeah, I don't want to put new tiles in. Only to find out that in that area, it's more of people are looking for a modern look and people want a fresh look to it. And then you still have that old carpet that had that had 16 dogs inside that house. If you don't know the 16 dog, you need to make sure that you follow us somewhere, somehow. I must have mentioned where these 16 dogs come from. The 16 dogs in the podcast. So please do listen to the podcast. You'll hear where the 16 dogs come from. Yeah. So in some situations, it's very important that you spend where it's necessary.
So Naneo, can you please give us the pros and the cons of investing in property using the flip strategy?
Well, one of the cons I'd like to be outright about this. I just like to put it on the table is that if you don't have time, you need to be reliant on a team of experts that will be on the ground. Now, if your team on the experts on the ground are not experts and they are actually looking at getting cash quick, your whole project can go sour. I've seen somebody who spent double the amount of what they had to spend initially because they trusted a project manager. He is a project manager on paper. However, in reality, all he does is just collect the people, not even understand if the people did what's right. And if you do have a query, those people don't solve it. So you need to understand that, do I have the time? If I don't have the time, do I have the experts that will make sure the job is done? Because at the end of the day, with flip, I'm buying to make a profit.
So when you're looking at a pro, the pro of actually investing in property using the flip manner is that with flip, what I like about flip is that I'm actually going to be receiving the lump sum at the end of the project.
Yeah.
Right. So now if I'm looking at getting a return on investment of 25% and I'm actually investing 100,000, that means that I'm going to be getting 25,000 at the end of the project.
Yeah.
So now let's put this into context. If I'm looking at buying a particular property right now and saying that I'm going to invest 100,000, I need to understand that, am I actually willing to work for the next 6 months to only get 25,000 on a monthly basis? So now how you'd get that is that you'd say that 100,000 you'd say 25% of 100,000, which is 25,000 rand, right? Then that 25,000 rand, we then have to divide it by by the time that you would actually be in this particular deal. So now, if we are in the deal for 6 months, we are simply going to say 25,000 divided by 6 months to get how much am I actually going to be getting on a monthly basis. And this is 4,166,6666667, right? So now if we do actually round it off, we can just say 4,167 rand. So now, does it actually make sense for me to actually be doing the runaround with the project manager for the next 6 months at 4,166 at the end of the month? That's a question that will be up to you. So now, if that's not something that you'd really be willing to do, then you need to look at another strategy, or look at how much, or can you actually get a better deal out of this particular money.
Invest like a pro.